friends, welcome to your Friday Pick a Card with me, Intuitive Rene. As always, it's such an honor and a privilege to be here with you, and I do hope that you have had an amazing week so far. So today for Friday's Pick a Card, you can see there's all sorts of things happening on the table here in front of me. I am working, well, the theme, the topic, whatever you want to call it for this week, is nurturing the self. It is something that's come through quite a lot from Spirit over the last couple of days, so it was a no-brainer that I was going to do a pick a card around nurturing the self. I have got a couple of questions written down that we're going to work through. These are the decks that I'm working with. That's going to help you to choose which of the bundles or which of the readings is going to be relevant and appropriate to you. The decks that I'm working with this week is the Enchanted, the Everyday Enchantment Tarot. I love this deck. I love this deck because of the colors. I love the deck because it is so inclusive and it's modern. You know, we can look at the images and we can just see real life. We can see day-to-day kind of activities in it. So Everyday Enchantment Tarot by Poppy Palin. And then over here I have I'm going to call it a single oracle deck, but actually it's two oracle decks. I have combined two. They are by the same creator. It is the Goddess Dream Oracle and the Goddess Love Oracle, and I have combined them into a single deck. I have colored them differently, so the purple deck is colored purple and this deck is colored green on the sides. So it's a nice thick chunky deck which is going to give us some awesome readings and messages. And then I have a little card on the side here which comes from this particular tarot deck, and this is the card of the Empress. And the reason why I've taken her out of the deck and the reason why she's going to stay here for the whole reading is because this is the point of this particular reading. The topic or the conversation for this particular reading is about nurturing the self. And that's exactly what our Empress is all about. She gives life. She gives, she creates opportunity. She creates life. She creates circumstances and situations. But more importantly, what she's all about is nurture. So here you can see she is depicted as the mom. There we have husband, we have baby, we've got puppy dog, we've got toddler. You know, this is real life. And everybody needs her. Everybody wants something from her, you know, so she loves everybody unconditionally, and she will do absolutely anything she can to help and to ease and to make life better for the people that she loves. For, I'm saying the people, I'm including animals in the people comment, okay? Because our animals are our people, absolutely. So she is the point behind today's conversation, today's reading, today's topic. It's all about nurturing the self, taking care of the self. This is the month of February. It is the month of love. And I don't want to be all cliche and talk about relationships and, you know, when am I going to find soulmate and all that kind of stuff. So I thought, you know what, for the month of February, we're going to talk about love, but we're going to talk about love and acceptance of self. Because if you don't love yourself, if you don't accept yourself, if you don't have a good relationship with yourself, how can you have a good relationship with anybody else? So these are the decks that I'm going to be working with. I have 3 little orange cards. Let me actually make some space. Excuse me for a second, just moving all of these out of the way. So these are from, if you've watched my week ahead readings, and you will recognize the orange backs. So this is from the Word of the Year Oracle. And what I've done is I've just chosen 3. I chose them on purpose. So I went through looking to choose 3. And I chose them because I think that these are qualities, or these are things that we all may be looking for, wanting or needing in our life. So I thought I would choose 3. And you can let yourself be guided by these 3 to help you find the reading out of the 3 readings that are available, which is the one that's going to be relevant to you, which is going to be the one that Spirit wants you to watch, that Spirit wants you to be aware of. So listen to your intuition. When I turn them over and reveal the words, where are you drawn to immediately? If you want to pause the video now and just take a minute to center yourself, to ground yourself, to do a short little, you know, breathe in for the count of 4, breathe out for the count of 4, do that a couple of times to just, you know, get yourself centered. Then when you look at the words, you will know exactly where you are being drawn to. At this point, before I turn the cards over, I do want to say, if you enjoy the content that I create, please do support me by giving the video a thumbs up. A comment below is always welcomed and appreciated, because if you interact with the video, it sets to the algorithm, it sets to YouTube to let everybody know that this is worthy content. And if you want me to keep doing these videos, to keep bringing you this kind of content, that's the best way that you can support me right now. All right, besides for those people who have already subscribed to my memberships, I do so value and appreciate every single one of them, and it might be something that you might want to consider doing as well. All right, so let's get into your 3 words, and then we will get straight into the readings and to see how can we nurture the self. So keyword number 1. And if you know me and if you've been following me for any amount of time, I'm sure you're not surprised to see that. Joy is something that I so believe in. It's something that I live my life by. And everything that I do, I make sure that it comes from a place of joy. So that is option number 1. Reading number 1 is joy. Secondly, focus. Because again, if we're not focusing on joy, if we're not focusing on the things that are relevant and important in our life, we may be missing the point. We may be achieving things that aren't relevant or aren't appropriate. So focus is our second one, and let's have a look and see what our third one is. Because every now and again, we need to do that. Every now and again, we need to take a time out. Every now and again, we need to pause just to allow ourselves to catch up with ourselves. So those are the 3 words. Those are the 3 readings that we're going to be doing. So each of the readings are going to be exactly the same questions with the exact same deck of cards but obviously the messages that come through will be relevant or different, I should say. And there will be the 3 that I am going to label joy, focus, and pause. So which of these 3 are you drawn to right now? And then that will be the reading that you need to watch. So once you know which one you're going for, if you look in the description of this particular video, or just underneath, just on the last line of this video, if you're watching on YouTube, there will be the chapters, and you can actually click and jump straight to the chapters. So there will be a chapter for joy, a chapter for focus, and a chapter for pause. Let's get into your reading and let's see how you can best nurture yourself. And welcome to those of you who have chosen joy as the key word, as the word that you are drawn to right here and right now. So we are looking at nurturing the self. This is what the theme of our reading is. I have my tarot deck here. I have shuffled before I started recording. It is a full tarot deck minus our Empress card because she is going to be our voice for our session today, for the reading. So I'm just going to give the deck a little shuffle because I did shuffle before I started recording, but just to give it a little shuffle. And I'm just looking at the questions I've got because I didn't remember counting. There are 5 questions, so I'm going to just give a quick little shuffle. I'm going to draw out 5 cards, and let's get into your reading and see how can you best nurture yourself. So spreading the deck out, I thought I'd do something a little bit differently today. We're going to take card 1, card 2, card 3, card 4, and actually I want to go over there for card 5. Okay, let's put those there. Let's get the deck out of the way and let's have a look and see. I'm going to just turn them straight over, put them on the table. I'll then go through the questions, go through the cards, and give you the reading that you need. First, we'll need to see how I'm going to fit them onto the table so that everybody can see them. Right, I think we're going to do it like this. Looks like it's going to fit. I never check before I start, and I always think to myself, gosh, I should be more organized. All right, friends, those of you who have chosen joy as the word that you were drawn to, we have got 5 cards laid out. We are looking at nurturing the self. I have my questions written down, and I am just going to refer to them very quickly. We're looking at our first card over here, and the question that we're looking at here is how can you create and birth what you need in your life at the moment? And here we have the 2 of Blades. So how can you create and birth whatever it is that you need in your life at the moment? 2 of Blades is a very interesting card. First of all, the first thing I notice here is this keywords. It's like an envelope that's there, and it's got final notice. It's got that stamp. Look at what she's doing. She's like saying, no, I don't want to know about it. She's almost like she doesn't want to look at the truth. She doesn't want to look at what's going on in her life. So things are obviously piling up, and things are creating a bit of momentum around financial troubles, difficulties, concerns, and worries. Even behind her, there's chaos brewing everywhere around her. And she's at this point now, she's like, I don't want to know about it. I just don't want to know about it. So the question we asked is, what can you do to create and to birth whatever it is that you need in your life? And this is Spirit saying to you, you have to face the uncomfortable. Okay, the way for you to find more joy in your life is to face that which is uncomfortable, to face the challenges, the difficulties, to face the uncomfortable. sometimes we just feel like, actually, I don't want to look at it, and hopefully it'll go away, and hopefully tomorrow it won't be so bad. But the situation is not going to ease. It's not going to get better if you don't face the reality, if you don't face the truth of the uncomfortable truths in your life. The situation is not, and you're never going to be able to improve your life. Remember, today's reading is all about the Empress, which is all about nurturing yourself so that you can nurture others. This is a confirmation that there is problems in your life at the moment, and you're allowing those problems to get bigger and bigger and bigger instead of actually just dealing with them head on. So how can you create and birth whatever it is that you need in your life? By, I almost want to say, tackling the things that you may have neglected, forgotten about, that you've pushed aside, and that you're not truly focusing on. And if you can do that, if you can face those challenges, face those things head on, you will find yourself in a much better position to create better opportunities for you. All right, on to card number 2, and the question we asked here is, what do you need to nurture within yourself? And this is very interesting, the fact that we've got the Temperance card that's come up here. So there are 3 people in this card. If you have a look, we've got the 3 people over here. Whenever this card comes up, I always say, right, who are you? Are you this lady in pink? Are you this gentleman over here, or are you this lady in the background? And truth be told, considering our theme of this particular reading, considering the key word that you chose, and the fact that everything we're doing today is around our Empress, I'm going to say that you are this lady in the background. She is the peacemaker. She is the one who says, you know what, she recognizes the squabble. So we've got these 2 who are clearly having a bit of a disagreement. We've got the disagreement situation happening here as well. So these are theme, these are trend developing here. And the question we asked was, what do you need to nurture within yourself? And it's about being the peacemaker. It's about recognizing that sometimes we can't have everything our way, that sometimes there has to be a little bit of a compromise, okay? So whatever it is that you're ignoring, or whatever it is that you're not looking at the moment, this is Spirit saying to you, we need to actually face things, but come at it from a place of happiness, from a place of joy. I heard that in my head. We need to come at it from a place of joy. We need to come at things from a place of, it's going to be okay. It's going to be easy. I can do this. It's going to be all right. But when we ignore and when we don't face this particular situation that's going on between the 2 of them, just gets bigger, until eventually we're still fighting with each other, but we've actually forgotten why we're fighting. So Spirit is saying, be the lady in the background, be the peacemaker, be the one who comes forward and says, right, let's compromise. What can you do? What can you do? And can you see what she's done? She's actually brought them a smoothie, okay, a fruit smoothie, a veggie smoothie. She's created something specific to each one. So they think they're getting something completely different, but I can assure you it's probably the same thing. She's just colored them differently, all right? So it's about that compromise. It's about, you know, assessing the situation for what it is and then doing something to make it seem different. So again, what do you need to nurture within yourself? It's about recognizing that there has to be a bit of a give and take. And if you're not doing a bit of give and take with yourself, your whole life circumstances are not going to be as great as the potential that they have to be. Okay, on to question 3. And our third question is, what can you do to allow abundance to flow easily in your life? And I just love this card for you guys. Ace of Wands. That immediately, and I'm sure you've noticed it as well, is this huge big blank canvas. And this is exactly what you have available to you. Your life is just one big blank canvas. You get to decide what goes on. You get to decide the experiences, the lessons, the joy that you have, that's available to you in your life. So what can you do to allow abundance to flow easily? Recognizing that there are no limits, that there are no restrictions, and the potential that's available to you is unlimited. When we block ourselves off, when we close ourselves off, suddenly we're putting stuff on the paper, which means that we are limited, restricted with what we can create. When you recognize that your canvas is blank, big and blank, it means that you could do anything. Now, again, in this particular image, she has gone outdoors We have got a horse running. We have got birds flying. We've got an, I don't know whether it's a duck or a geese or whatever it is down here. She's got fields, she's got sunrise, she's got clouds. There's even a castle in the background. There are 1,000 things that she could draw. And she's now at a point where she's saying, okay, so what is attracting me? What am I drawn to? What do I want to work with or work through? What do I want to paint? Do I want to do it all? Or do I want to pick just certain aspects and paint that and make that the focus point? So the abundance, the potential that's available to her is huge. So in answer to the question of what can you do to allow more abundance or to allow abundance to flow more easily in your life, it's about recognizing the potential, the unlimited, unrestricted potential that is available to you. And again, I want to bring our Empress into it. Remember, she is the nurturer. She is the one who loves unconditionally. She doesn't say, I'll only love you when, or I'll only love you if. She just loves unconditionally. And this is the kind of thing that you need to do, is no restrictions, no limitations, no if, buts, and maybes. We've got some if, buts, and maybes happening there. We need to eliminate them. And that's when you're living your life out of joy. All right, number 4. So question 4 is, how can you embrace the goddess within? So the goddess, I'm changing to the Empress. How can we embrace the Empress within? What can you do within yourself to embrace the Empress? And I love this 9 of Cups. 9 of Cups is the card of having everything your heart desires. It's the card of counting blessings. It's the card of gratitude and the card of abundance. So if you look at the image here, we have some kind of a celebration that's taking place. We have the couple in question. We have got all their friends that have joined them. There is champagne flowing. We've got an abundance of fruit and, just like all the luxury, lush things. Look, we're on the ocean. There's even sailing ships. There's everything fabulous happening here. And that's exactly what the 9 of Cups is all about. 9 of Cups is the card of just having all your needs met, all your needs fulfilled, and living an abundant, happy, confident life. So how can you embrace the Empress within? By practicing by practicing joy, by practicing gratitude, by just recognizing and acknowledging all that you do have, and not ignoring our problems, not pretending that they're not there, by not pretending that they are insignificant, but by choosing to shift our focus. Let's deal with this, but then let's shift our focus to this. And if we can do that, this is going to be quick and easy and simple to overcome, to resolve, to work through. All right. Our last card here, and we have the Queen of Blades. In traditional tarot, she would be the Queen of Swords. You can see that she's a bit of a scientist, okay? You can see that she's a bit of a scientist. I love that pointy finger because that's her personality. She's like, everybody must do what they must do, and there's no room for error. There's no space for that. Precision, perfection is all that matters. And she's not afraid to speak her mind and to say things. With this particular card, I didn't have a question. I wanted a message from the Empress, okay? So we're going to put these 2 cards together for you to get the message from the Empress. The Empress is all about love. She's all about nurture. She's all about creation. She's all about wanting you to be happy, satisfied, content, and all of those kind of things. But you're not going to have that unless everything is in order, unless all your ducks are in a row, is what I'm hearing in my head, okay? So you have to put the effort in. You have to understand the rules. You have to understand the boundaries. You have to understand the minimum and the maximum, allowed, required, etc. And until you've got all of that figured out, you are never going to be able to love yourself unconditionally. I am going to say to you, based on everything that's going on here in your particular reading today, I am going to say to you that you're being far too hard on yourself. Your acceptable, I don't know what the word is, your acceptable boundaries or your acceptable limits are far too narrow. We need to stretch them a little bit. We need to make the acceptable norm a little bit wider. Give yourself a little bit of room to wiggle, a little bit of wiggle room, okay? We need a little bit of wiggle room. You need to be a little bit kinder, a little bit gentler to yourself, and understand that even if you're coloring slightly outside of the lines, you're still able to achieve the objectives that you've set out to achieve. Just because you're coloring a little bit outside of the lines doesn't mean it's an instant fail. And I think you've been so hard on yourself. So friends, up until this point, this is the Empress saying to you, Joy is important, joy is significant, you can, you must, and you will have it, but you have to face the difficulties. You have to face the things that you have been putting off for the longest time. If you don't face them, if you don't deal with them, they're just going to continue to get worse. They're not going to go away on their own. But it is about finding a compromise, but it is at coming at it, coming at your challenges and coming at your situations with a optimistic outlook. And if you can do that, the potential of what's available to you and what you can create and manifest is just wow. Wow. And let's practice gratitude. Let's recognize that there is so much positive going on in your life. There is so much good going on, even though there are a couple of challenges. And it's about being kinder and gentler and giving yourself a little bit more wiggle room. And if you can do all of that, life is going to be great. So now I am grabbing my combined oracle deck. Again, I did shuffle before I started recording, but just going to give it a quick little shuffle, and I want to just grab one card, and I want that one over there as a final message from the Empress for each one of you, just to complete the reading and just to find a little bit of inspiration. Let's see what we've got. We have got flow. Let the goddess blessings enrich your life. And it is about, okay, so it is goddess Lakshmi, and she is about flow. And she's saying to you, we need to let it flow. We need to not limit, restrict, or prevent. We need to be open to the flow of life. When we're not dealing with stuff, we are restricting and limiting the flow. Here we have got flow, letting things flow. So it says, let goddess blessings enrich your life. Lakshmi is saying to you, let's just let it all flow. Let's not limit, restrict, or hold back in any way. So friends, I hope you enjoyed your reading. Sending so much love and blessings to each one of you. I hope you find your joy. I hope you find everything and that you create the most amazing painting. A painting of love, a painting of gratitude, and a painting of abundance. From my heart to yours, and until we connect again, take care. Hello and welcome to those of you who chose the word focus to help you choose the reading that you needed to see, to hear, and to know about today. Welcome. I have my tarot deck here on the table in front of me, and I did obviously give it a good shuffle before I started recording, but I do like to give it a little shuffle while I have you on camera. So I'm just going to give it a short shuffle. I'm going to fan the cards out, and we're going to choose 5 cards to answer the 5 questions that I have written down to understand, I almost want to say, nurturing the self, loving the self, and working with your Empress energy within your heart space. Okay, cards shuffled. They don't fan beautifully, but let's fan them out. I'm going to take that one over there as card 1. I'm going to take that one as card 2, card 3. Gosh, trying to find card 4. And let's take this one here as card 5. Okay, put them down and let's get rid of the tarot deck. And let's have a look and see. I'm just going to put them all on the table, and then I will take you through the questions and obviously the interpretation. So we have got the Tower. We have got 10 of coins. We have got the Knight of Wands, just making sure it all fits on camera. We have got the Queen of Cups. And finally, we have got the 7 of Wands. All right. So focus is something that is important to you. It's something that has drawn you and brought you to this particular reading. Whether it is that you have too much of it or not enough of it, we will understand and we will get through shortly. But what I want to do now is just go through the cards that we have laid out, and I will bring our Empress into it as well, because she is our guide today for the readings that we're doing. So we're starting off with card number 1, which happens to be the Tower. Now, before I even bring the question in, just to explain the card. So the Tower is about problems. It's about big problems. It's about devastation and destruction and challenges. In this particular instance, this particular building has been struck by lightning. It is on fire. There are people falling out of the building. There is a major emergency. This lady over here, these people are trying to defend themselves from the falling bricks. But this lady here, she's on the phone. She's calling the emergency services and she's saying, get here now. We need help. There's a problem. So she is already reacting to the situation in trying to solve and find and repair. So the Tower says that there is a devastation, there is a problem, there is something going wrong. But the true meaning of the card is not so much about what's gone wrong as it is about what we do about it, how we overcome it, and how we repair it and fix it, and how we grow from it. So the question that this card is answering, and I'm just going to read it, so if my eyes are going off camera, just forgive me for a second. How can you create and birth what you need in your life right now? So what can you do, or how can you create and birth whatever it is that you need in your life right now? So this is Spirit saying to you, for all of you who have chosen focus, they're saying that we need a little bit of chaos. We need a little bit of disruption in your life right now, because if we allow things to remain too consistent, to the word that I need to shout at you here is stagnant. Okay, if we allow life to be flatlined, to be consistent and stagnant, nothing is going to happen. So how can you create and birth whatever it is that you need in your life right now? We need a little bit of disaster. So this is not Spirit saying to you, cause complete and total upheaval in your life, but it is saying that we need a little bit of a shake-up. All right, and you're probably watching this right now. You're probably nodding your head in agreement, in understanding that yes, I do need a little bit of a shake-up. There are circumstances or situations in your life where you just feel like it's so dull and boring, or it's so uninspiring, or it's just so unmotivating, or it's just so ugh. And sometimes we want to give things a little bit of a shake-up, and this is Spirit saying absolutely, but the focus is not on the shake-up, it's what we do after. I do also want to add in here, when the Tower card comes up in a reading, it's always Spirit saying to you, this is a strong suggestion. This is Spirit saying to you, the Tower is a strong suggestion, saying rather create the situation yourself. You have got a limited time frame in order to make the change, and if you don't voluntarily initiate it, Spirit will do it for you by lightning strike or whatever else. Sometimes when we initiate change on our own, it's easier for ourselves and for our family members. Whereas when it's forced on you, when the change is forced on you, it's often not so pleasant. But again, reminder, it's not so much about the problem as it is about the change that comes after the problem. So how can you create and birth whatever it is you need in your life? By shaking things up. Okay. On to card 2, and this one is like it's the complete opposite. So here we have the Tower, which is about devastation and destruction. The 10 of Cups, on the other hand, if I can pick it up, is, I mean, we have the perfect happy family. I mean, here we have granddad, we've got children, it's Christmas time, we've got family portraits, fire roasting, you know, there's money abundant all over the place. We've got puppy dogs and babies and dogs and Christmas trees. It's like, you know, the perfect family life, if I can put it that way. I know it's awfully cliche, but that's what it is. And that's exactly what the 10 of Coins is. The 10 of Coins is the card of having just everything that your heart desires. The 10 of Coins is about perfect family life, perfect home life, no problems, no challenges, you know, everything is just perfect. The question that we were asking here is, what do you need to do? What do you need to nurture within yourself? And I'm telling you now that this is that this is Spirit saying to you, it's time to nurture your family dynamic, your role within the family, how it all fits. What is it that you perceive as a perfect family? What is it that will bring you that kind of warm, fuzzy feeling when you think about your family? What is that for you? Because that is different for all of us. We don't all, like, for me in particular, this wouldn't be a perfect family, because Christmas time, roasting fires in Durban, South Africa, no. So we all have our own versions of what a perfect family would be. And this is Spirit saying to you, you've got to nurture that within yourself. So the question again, what do you need to nurture within yourself? And it's, what is a happy family? What is a perfect life? What is happiness to you? And it is something that needs your focus. It is something that you need to be mindful of and aware of. So what do you need to nurture within yourself? It is that whole dynamic kind of concept of family, of happiness. So if I ask you, what does happiness look like to you? What does family look like to you? Not what does your happiness or your current family, but in an ideal world, in a perfect world, if I say to you, describe the perfect family, describe a happy family, what would that be for you? And then you've got to ask yourself, how close are we to that? How do they line up? Are they missing each other completely, or are they connecting? And I'm wondering if that's not the shake-up that needs to happen. Remember, today's reading is all about helping you nurture yourself. If what you think is a happy, content, perfect family, if your vision of that is completely separate from your reality, how can you be happy? How can you be living your best life? So it's about, and we don't want to adjust our perceptions to match our reality, because then no, no, that's just wrong, friends. That's just wrong. We need to be honest with ourselves, truthful with ourselves about what it is that will make us happy. What is it we have, and how we're going to get about it. And if we need to shake things up a little bit in order to achieve that, so be it. But this is the message that Spirit is giving you. We have our Empress over here, just to bring her in. She is unconditional love. It's the best way that I can describe her. Unconditional love. She does not have unrealistic expectations of her family, of her animals, of her husband, of her wife, of her whatever her circumstances. She loves unconditionally. She lives to make everybody happy. She will do everything in her power to make her family satisfied, content, safe, secure, happy, etc. She often neglects herself in that process, but it's a choice and decision that she's made. But yet she is unconditionally happy within herself. You are not allowed to let your happiness go by the wayside just because that's what you envisioned for yourself. And this is the message that's coming from Spirit. All right. Card number 3. And here we have our Knight of Wands. So you can see he looks like a little bit of a rebel. You may like the rebel or you may not like the rebel, but he certainly looks like he's a little bit of the rebel. I mean, he's on his Harley, he's on his motorbike, he's got this huge big wrench in his hand, and you can see that there's movement. Everybody behind him, I mean, look, she's in a bit of like, shock horror. And, you know, the mouth open, he's obviously making some kind of a noise. There's speed and movement. You can see by his hair blowing. And everybody behind him is going like, what's going on? What's going on? So the Knight of Wands, he's so quick. He's so loud. He's so, I want to say forceful, but I don't think it's quite the right word that I need to use. But he's so focused on his own needs, wants, and desires. He doesn't take other people into consideration. He's like, I'm just going to do it. I'll worry about the consequences later. That's the attitude here. The question, or what the list that I have for the third one is, what can you do to allow abundance to flow more easily in your life? So how can you allow abundance to flow more easily in your life? And it's by just not overthinking things, okay? It's about just being a little bit rebellious, about just saying, why not? Get on your bike and wind in your hair and just go for it. Sometimes we can overthink things. The fact that you chose focus, I don't think there's any kind of a trick in that. You chose focus because you're obviously living your life where everything is well planned. There's a strategy. You know, you believe in focusing on one thing at a time and getting things done in the right way. Or you recognize the lack of focus in your life. And here the question is, what can you do to allow abundance to flow more easily in your life? And it's telling you to just get out there and do stuff, okay? Instead of waiting for the right moment, instead of being mindful and considerate, it's about saying, you know what? I am shaking things up. And the way that I'm shaking things up is by getting things done. Movement, action, activity is what is needed. How are you going to get that perfect family? How are you going to experience that? By making things happen. And don't feel like you are going against the rules by doing so, because this is clearly something that is important. You need to do that. I'm certainly not encouraging you to get on a motorbike and speed down the road, loudly annoying the neighbors with no helmet. That is not what I am encouraging at all. But this is just Spirit saying sometimes it is about just climbing outside of our box a little bit, and sometimes about just doing things a little bit differently, and sometimes just maybe even drawing a bit of attention to yourself. That is the way that you're going to attract abundance into your life. You can't do this by sitting on your couch alone at home waiting for something to happen. It's not coming to you. You must go out there and fetch it yourself. Make it happen. And it ties in with that card so beautifully. All right. Card number 4. And here we have our Queen of Cups. Now, I am going to say to you, Queen of Cups and our Empress energies are quite similar. She's very intuitive. She's very mindful of her emotions and what she's thinking and what she's feeling and the feelings and the thoughts of other people around her. And she's the kind of lady who, with just one little word, can suddenly put you at ease and suddenly make you feel like, you know what, everything's going to be okay. So she has that amazing ability, whereas our Empress is all about life, creation, and happiness. But our Queen of Cups, you know, she sort of understands the bigger picture and she can sort of guide you in that direction. And what we were asking here is, how can you embrace the Empress within you? And this is telling you that you've got to learn to trust yourself. You've got to recognize that everything that's been given to you, you already know this. In your heart of hearts, in the depths of your soul, this is all speaking truth to you. You know this. You're not hearing anything that you didn't already know. But it's like you haven't believed it, you haven't trusted. It's like you're so focused on everything and everyone else that you have neglected the self. You have neglected yourself, which is why this particular reading about nurturing yourself is so important, is so relevant and important to you. So our Queen of Cups is telling you to trust your own skills, your own knowledge, your own ability, and most importantly, trust your own truth. Okay. And finally, our last card that we have here, and this was just, I was asking for a message from the Empress. So in case I had forgotten something, in case I hadn't quite got the message, what else did the Empress want you to know today? And here we have the Seven of Wands. And this is such an interesting card because we have got a strong police presence, okay? We have got a strong police presence and they've got their weapons of self-defense or whatever it is. And here we've got some people who are, what's the word I'm looking for? Protesting. Thank you. Protesting. Okay. And they are protesting for love, for peace, for, you know, nurturing the earth and taking care of the earth. So they are doing a protest and the police are there to control the protest. I don't know if you're here or if you're here, but Seven of Wands is the card of being defensive. Whether you need to be defensive, whether you are being overly defensive. But you can see that they are taking up all the space and the protesters have got such a small section there. So what is the message that the Empress has for you, considering everything that we've just said, considering the whole message that's come through? The Empress is telling you that you deserve so much love, so much happiness. You deserve the best family life ever, but you've got to learn to trust yourself. You've got to learn that it's okay to be the protester. You don't always have to defend your actions or defend yourself, that sometimes it's okay to rattle the cage and to shake things up a little bit. And it's okay to be a little bit rebellious, because then we have a little bit of rebellious coming through as well. So this is really the Empress saying to you, the best way to nurture yourself is to be honest with yourself around what truly matters. They are fighting or standing up for or representing what truly matters to them. And this is the Empress saying that you need to do the same. So friends, I am now picking up my combined oracle deck, which is 2 decks that I have combined, and I just want to draw a single card just as a final little message, a final little piece of inspiration, a final little piece of guidance for each one of you today, just in case I have missed something here. And that one over there apparently is the one that I want. So let's just see, message from the Empress, message from the Goddess. What do we have? And like, do I even have to say anything? Trust. And at the bottom here it says, all is as it should be. So it's about trusting yourself. It's about trusting the environment and the circumstances that you create for yourself. But it's also about trusting that you deserve it all. You deserve happiness. You deserve success. You deserve abundance. You deserve a good life. You don't have to be overly defensive, but you do have to trust. Who are you trusting? You're not trusting anything or anyone externally. It's about trusting the self. So friends, I hope you enjoyed your reading. I hope this has spoken to your heart and soul, and I hope it's going to help you to just nurture yourself a little bit and to make some changes that are clearly necessary in your life. With love and blessings, from my heart to yours, and until we connect again, take care. Hello and welcome to those of you who chose pause as the keyword that brought you to this particular reading. Welcome. I have my deck of cards here on the table. Let's give it a shuffle and lay out the cards so that we can get straight into your reading. So very interesting. I'm just looking at what flipped. I am going to put it straight back, but we have the 2 of Cups, which is about connections, partnerships, and relationships. So just very interesting that the word pause was one that I chose and the one that you chose, and that's brought you here. So it either is that you're feeling like life is too paused at the moment, or you're feeling like you just would like to pause for a second so that you can catch your breath. It'll be very interesting to see what comes through. So today's reading is about nurturing the self, nurturing yourself, and just understanding what it is that you need in order to be happier and more content. So I did shuffle the cards before I started recording. Let's just lay them out. I'm going to choose 5 cards, and then I will turn them over and see what we've got. 1, 2, let's just see, 3, 4, and let's take this one over here, 4, 5. Let's put all the cards out of the way, and then we will look at the 5 that we have got. Okay, so card number 1, we have got Temperance. Card number 2, 7 of Wands. Both of these have already appeared in the other 2 readings, as has the 2 of Blades. So far, no new faces. We have a new face. We have the 3 of Wands, and finally, the 5 of Cups. All right, so I'm loving what this is saying. I'm loving the message that's coming through. Obviously, you don't know yet. I will give it to you in a second. Pause is the theme. Pause is the thing that you are focusing on at the moment, that you are wanting, needing, or to have too much of in your life. I have got 5 questions or 5 topics that we're working on. We have got the Empress card displayed at the bottom here because everything that we're doing today is coming from a place of unconditional love. It's about helping you be that person for yourself. It's about loving yourself unconditionally and doing things that bring you a sense of happiness and joy in your life. So card number 1, and here we have the Temperance card. The question that I have written down on a piece of paper over there, so excuse me while I read, it says, how can you create and birth that which you need in your life right now? So what do you need to do to create and birth whatever it is that you need in your life right now? We've got Temperance. Temperance is the card of balance. Temperance is the card of recognizing, of observing the situation, seeing what's going on, and then finding that common ground, finding that balance, that middle road, if I can put it that way. Temperance is also the card of compromise. Now, if we look at what's going on here, these 2 people are clearly having a bit of a disagreement. They are both, the body language is very closed off and not interested. They're looking at each other. It's like the one's waiting for the other one to make a first move or to say something or to do something. And then we've got this lady in the background. I mean, she is beaming with happiness and joy. She's got such a big smile on her face. And she comes offering beverages, for want of a better word. So here we have a red, and here we have a green. It looks like that's a bit of cucumber. It looks like that's a bit of tomato. 2, and there we have the bowl of fruit, and here she has her juicer. So she has made them something fresh, something to nourish the soul, to take care of them. Are they interested? Probably not, because they're so focused on whatever is going on. But she is, I'm going to call it, oblivious to their disagreement, and all she wants to do is love them, to give them nourishment, to take care of them, to give them the liquid, the juice, the food, whatever you want to call it. I want to call it superfood. Superfood, super juices. And they're like so, and look at them, they're complete opposites of each other, aren't they? So the question again, how can you create and birth whatever it is that you need in your life? And I'm telling you now, it's about finding that middle ground. Trying to be the winner, trying to succeed and to win at everything that you do is not going to get you very far. It is about recognizing that sometimes we just have to distract ourselves. Sometimes we just have to pause, whatever this is. And when we nurture and nourish ourselves, when we allow that sustenance and that healthy whatever it is to come into yourself, suddenly everything looks different. If they took a bit of a time out to drink their liquid, and not focus on each other, once they've taken in their nourishment, which is being made specifically for their needs, suddenly they're going to see each other in a different light. Suddenly everything is going to look different. But if they just stand there staring at each other, nobody moving, they're going to stand there for a while. And the longer they stand there, the worse the problem, situation, or the circumstance becomes. So again, how can you create and birth whatever it is that you need in your life? It's about pausing, taking a step back, nurturing the self, what this reading is all about, and then coming back to tackle whatever the situation is. But if you keep pushing on that same situation, you're not actually going anywhere. If anything, you're moving backwards. So pause, stop, time out, replenish, take in whatever it is that you need, and then come back to the challenge that is right here in front of you. And that is the best way that you can birth and create whatever it is that you need in your life right now. But however you're doing it at the moment is not working for you. Okay. On to card number 2. That was quite a hard truth, wasn't it? On to card number 2. And card number 2, excuse my nose is itchy. Card number 2 is, what do you need to nurture within yourself? And very interesting that we've got this one, because the 7 of Wands is the card of being defensive. So here we have this strong police presence, okay, who are defending or putting up resistance on these people who are protesting. So these people are protesting, I don't know, love of nature, whatever it is. Actually, whatever they're protesting is not what's important here. But it's this police presence. They're not even taking the time to understand what the protest is all about. They've been given the instruction of creating a barricade. They are defending something. So are they. They're both defending, aren't they? But who's right? It depends. Are you on this side or are you on that side? Or do you switch between the two? But they are defending nature, love of nature. They are defending, I don't know, property rules, regulations, I don't know, whatever it is. But there's definitely both are being very defensive. So the question again was, what do you need to nurture within yourself? And I'm going to tell you now, it is your defense mechanisms. So and it's very interesting. I'm making the correlation here between the juice, the superfood, the juices, and this card over here. So what do you need to nurture within yourself? I think this is telling you your own immune system. Okay? Each one of you watching this right now, pause. It's about stopping any and all activity, taking a little bit of time out to put your defenses up, because your defenses may be a bit low. We either have too many defenses in one area and not enough in another, but we need to take in some nutrients. We need to nourish our soul, nourish everything, and we need to make sure that our defenses are relevant and appropriate, not too much in one and not enough in another. And if you can do that, you will be nurturing yourself in the way that yourself needs right now. So I think a juice cleanse, a juice detox would do you the world of good. And you can't really do a juice detox while you're on the go the whole time. It's like you almost need to slow down. It's like you almost need to pause a little bit. Remember our Empress, just to bring her in here, she loves unconditionally. Her whole existence is to bring happiness, joy, food, etc. to the people that mean the most to her. That is her whole reason for existing. Your reason for existing is to find love, happiness, joy, success in your life. But you can't do that if you're not nurturing the self. Okay, I love this. This is actually getting very interesting. We're on to card number 3 down the bottom here. And card number 3 is the question, what can you do to allow abundance to flow more easily in your life? And what we've got over here is actually quite an interesting card. I noticed this final notice envelope at the bottom here. Notice the 2 knives are in a defensive mode. And she's even also crossing her hands. Her eyes are closed. She's like, I'm not looking. I can't deal with it right now, okay? No, she doesn't want to face the uncomfortable truth that is right here in front of her. Look behind her. We've got people arguing and fighting. People arguing and fighting. People arguing and fighting. Can you see the common theme here, okay? There is a lot of argument, fighting, a lot of chaos in your world at the moment. You've got to identify where this is coming from. Is it happening around you or is it happening to you? Are you creating it? Are you just part of it? How does this meet up or marry up in your life at the moment? So, what can you do to allow abundance to flow more easily in your life? It's about facing the uncomfortable truths. That is the message that's coming through here for you. We need to stop. You know, there's a phrase I heard many years ago when I was still in the corporate world, which spoke about, and now it's just disappeared from my mind. Gosh, it's gone. Analysis paralysis, okay? It's like we're constantly thinking and we're constantly strategizing and we're constantly coming up with, you know, how to fix this problem, how to fix this problem. Risk analysis is another one that I'm suddenly thinking about, where we're so busy trying to prevent risk that we're not actually doing anything. That's what I'm getting here. So we need to stop. We need to stop putting out the fires. We need to just get off the bus for a minute. Let the fires burn while you just replenish, rejuvenate, understand what is necessary and what is too much, and actually open the relevant envelopes and look and deal with whatever is inside. We cannot go through life ignoring challenges, ignoring certain things, because it's like you're walking with a ball and chain on your ankle. You're just not going to get anywhere. And the energy that you're giving off and the energy that you're wasting is just not worth anything. So for each one of you who chose pause, this is Spirit saying to you, stop whatever you're doing. However you are trying to be happy, trying to fix, trying to resolve, trying to solve, stop. Breathe. Reconnect. Replenish yourself. Understand what side of the fence you're fighting on, what actually matters. Is this what matters, or is that what matters? When you understand where you are and what truly matters, you can then face the uncomfortable truths. And maybe when she opens this envelope, even though it says final demand or final notice, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe it's not so disastrous. But while it's in the envelope, it gets worse and worse and worse in the head. So the question again, what can you do to allow the abundance to flow more easily? By taking a minute and dealing with stuff, replenishing yourself, and acknowledging all that there is. While you're carrying these envelopes around, sealed envelopes around, they just get heavier and heavier, bigger and bigger. All right, fourth one. And here we have the beautiful Three of Wands. I say it's the beautiful card because it is a hot, hot, hot day here where I am, and they're out in the snow. I would I would love to be in the snow right now because it's just so hot. So the Three of Wands is the card of waiting for the right moment to do something. Okay, decisions have been made. We know where we're going. We know how we're doing it. We know what needs to happen, but it's just like waiting for the perfect conditions. And what we have here is perfect conditions. Okay, the question we're asking here is, how can you embrace the Empress within you? How can you embrace the goddess energy within yourself? And it is about recognizing that there is a journey that we have to go on, and we know what we need to do, and we know it's not going to be easy. I mean, climbing a mountain in the snow is not easy, but it's so worthwhile when you reach that summit, when you get to that top and you just have this, experience. There is just knowing that you're going to get there, knowing that there's a step and a process that you've got to go through, but it's about not giving up. It's about being patient. Pause. It's about being patient. It's about recognizing that all things, all in good time, but it doesn't mean that you can do nothing in the meantime. We are working towards this. This is where you're going. This is what lies ahead of you, but you have to keep taking those steps. You have to keep making those movements so that you can ultimately get to what you've already decided on, what you already know you want, you need, and you deserve in your life. But it is just about taking those steps and knowing that when the time is right, when the conditions are perfect, it's going to be so worth it. So worth it. And finally, friends, our last card that I have here is the Five of Cups. And if you look at this card, we've got a gravestone. Here we have a lady clearly in mourning. Even the doggy looks so sad. And you can see by the flowers that she's put that this is a place that she comes to on a regular basis. We've got an angel behind her sending all the love in the world. This is the card of sadness. This is the card of disappointment. And the question, or the position, if I can put it that, of this particular card was just a message from the Empress. So the Empress is saying to you, unconditional love is the only thing that matters. Unconditional love, support, and guidance is what's available to you. We've got the angel over there. But it's understanding that life is full of disappointments. Life is full of sorrow. We cannot go through life without experiencing pain. We grow through pain, or we grow through loss. It doesn't mean that that's what it's all about, but it's also about recognizing, I want to just point to this one, recognizing that there is a time and a place for all things. We will achieve success. We will achieve happiness. We will achieve everything we want, everything we deserve, and everything we desire for ourselves. But we have to acknowledge what we're going through now. So this is about Spirit saying, take the time that you need. Okay? Don't be so hard on yourself saying go, 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 go. We actually need to take time to mourn. We need to take time to be sad. We need to take time to be angry, even if that's what we need to. But while we are taking time to defend, to be angry, we need to process. Because if we don't, we're missing the point completely. So take the time now to pause, to open those envelopes, look inside, know that we're working towards something, and it is incredibly hard. It's incredibly tough. It is sad. It is, sometimes you feel like, what's the point? But you know what? The point is when you get there. When you get there and you see what it is, it's like now you understand. But you've got to be kinder to yourself. You've got to nurture yourself a little bit more so that you can achieve all of this that you want and that you need. I am picking up my Oracle deck. This is a combined Oracle deck where I have combined two decks into one. And this is just to get a final message of inspiration, a final message of hope, a little message of motivation for each one of us. And just in case I have missed something that Spirit wanted you to know. So I'm just going to give a little shuffle and let's see. Actually, I want one that's in the middle there. Hold on. I'm being difficult. I'm going to go for that one over there for you. Let's have a look and see what we have. Connection. We are all connected, and I think that is just so important, because even though Spirit is saying to you to take a pause, even though Spirit is saying to you to take a little bit of a time out, you've got to recognize that while you are resting, while you are replenishing and rejuvenating yourself, life is moving on. Circumstances are unfolding. Things are happening, and we are all connected. So while you're pausing, you're allowing somebody else to do something. You're allowing somebody else to move things in a forward direction. So just because you're pausing doesn't mean things are stopping, doesn't mean things are not progressing. Because again, I do think that's a mindset that we all suffer from, that if we take a time out, nothing happens. There's no progress, there's no forward momentum, there's no movement. And I think this is Spirit saying to you that's not the case. I think the Spirit is saying to you that when we pause, we have to understand that everybody else then gets a chance to catch up, or to move ahead, or to put things in place so that you can achieve the things that you want, that you need, and that you deserve. So friends, I hope that this has helped. I hope that this has just triggered something within yourself to give you a little bit of guidance as to how to nurture yourself so that you can move towards happiness, success, and abundance in your life. With love and blessings from my heart to yours. And until we connect again, take care.